healthcare and education is something that previous governments have also not put in a lot of effort to kind of revive in a big way.
I think right from the beginning, if you've seen, education spending has always been about 2.53%. So it's not this government or previous government.
I'm not criticizing this
particular
government.
Or any other government. It's been around that percentage, but that's education at a broad level. But then now you have like specific spends on different focused aspects as well, rather than the broader spectrum of education. There needs to be a little more thought that goes into allocation, because I feel that sometimes there are duplication of things that have happened in the past without consolidation of what has already been happening. Okay. Right? So that for me is a bit problematic, because I feel monies can be spent more efficiently if these spaces are identified. But having said that, at the end of the day, education is a concurrent subject. So the recommendation and steer comes from the central government, but the actual implementation, the budgets, the provisioning, everything happens at the state level. So to just say that at a broad spectrum level it is 3%, 2.5%, 3%, but states from within their budgets can also make allocations. They don't have to stick to the universal 3% or 4%. They can at their level decide what they want to do. So you have states that spend substantial amounts on education and others who don't. So it's a complicated space. So I can't really say that, oh, government should give more. What about state government? They maybe need to step up as well. And since they decide, it again, like I said, a lot of this is personality driven.
Right. Since you work with a lot of state governments, do you see that willingness to spend more on education in any of the state governments beyond the states that you probably work with also, which has
there are a lot of states that are aspirational in so many ways, like the northeastern states. They really want education to work for them, right? Some of the smaller states want education to work for them. There are some of the larger states that are doing pretty well, whether it's a Haryana, but these are more urban states. So they have far better infrastructure, much more access to things like internet connectivity, electricity, all of that. So they tend to do better because there is a ecosystem that is supporting the process. Having said that, there are also, it also depends from secretary to secretary to secretary. So some people focus much more, for instance, on bettering the system, bringing in quality, etc. But in India, we have a revolving door policy, right? I'm a secretary for 3 years. I go, somebody else comes. Now, unless that person decides to take forward what I have done in the past, or decides to reinvent the wheel and say, you know what, I can do this better, let me change it.
Right.
Okay. That also leads to leakages and inefficiencies in the system. You see, it's not only focused on budget.